Bonjour and welcome to France, a strange and fantastical realm of car manufacturing. And in particular today, we're going to be looking at this, the all-new Peugeot 408. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of all our future uploads. Now before we begin, I want you to just look at it because the 408 is a handsome car. It's fierce and it definitely stands out. I mean, just look at these headlights. You get the full matrix LED headlights as well as the daytime running lights that come down into this claw design into the bumper. And now in the middle, you get the all-new Peugeot badge. This is the first car in Singapore to feature that new lion logo. And it's surrounded by this stylized grille that on this, the higher spec GT model, is finished in the body color. Now speaking of body colors, this is Obsession Blue and I am absolutely obsessed with it. It is a gorgeous paint job and just look at it, it has blue and green hues depending on how the light hits it, and I absolutely adore this paint job. It's gorgeous. Moving on, French cars always have some sort a quirky feature here and there, and the 408 is no different. And the first one I want to show you is this. These 20-inch asymmetrical rims. Now Peugeot tells me they've put a lot of work into making this wheel design function properly, and I'm not surprised. It's definitely an idea from out of left field and one I'm sure only the French could come up with. Now elsewhere along the side we have the Peugeot badging, again proudly displayed here on the sides of the doors. And you also get nice touches like keyless entry, which as long as you have the key in your pocket, locks and unlocks the car as long as you walk away or walk up to it. But what I want to do now is take a step back and take in the silhouette and the side profile of the 408 as a whole. Just check out this gorgeous fastback design with a really sleek roofline that tapers only right at the back here. Now I do think that it looked a bit better if it wasn't lifted quite as much. I think it looked much better lowered, but you know, the people want SUVs these days, and I guess this lifted fastback is just Peugeot's answer to market demands. Now at the back, in line with the lion theme, Peugeot have added these cat ear spoilers at the top of the roof, and I guess they do kind of look like cat ears. And this is for added aerodynamics, and I'm sure added style points as well. Now speaking of style points, Peugeot of course have also added some flair to the rear lights. And now you get these 3D LED rear lamps that also have the claw design to really tie in that lion theme together. Now as always, one of my favorite places to check out on a car, the boot. And on this, the 408, it's electric. And you can see the hatch whirs open. And there's a slight lip, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not too high. And you get 536 liters of boot space, which as you can see, is plenty. I can sit in here, no issue. And if you need more, you can just press that and that to lower the rear seats, and now you get over 1,600 liters of cargo capacity, which is enough to turn this fastback into a small van. So here we are in the back seats of the 408, and I would describe the experience back here as pretty good. Now, this seat is in my driving position and I still have enough leg room. I've got a pretty good amount of foot room. There's a minimal central hump in the center. I have okay headroom. If I was a little bit taller, this might be an issue, but I would say about 1.82 meters, about 6 feet tall is about the limit for where you'd be comfortable. But if you're under that height range, you'll be perfectly fine back here. The seats are comfortable. There's air conditioning. I have USB ports. I have a little storage area. Materials are nice. If I need, I have a cup holder in the center armrest with a ski hatch if I want to through load some more items. And I also have my ISOFIX anchor points for if I want to put children back here. So it is a very inoffensive interior, at least in the back here, and one that I'm sure your family members and friends will be very happy with. Now the front seats of the 408 are where it gets a little bit more French. So there's a new feature on the 408 which I have to admit is pretty damn cool. Basically what it is a Pepper's Ghost illusion, I believe is what it's called. And what they've done is they've put a little glass panel over the gauge cluster, digital gauge cluster, and then they've had a screen in this top housing here. And what that does is now projects a 3D effect, kind of ghost hologram look for some of the dials and features, which is pretty cool. I mean, you can turn it off if you don't want it, but I think it is quite neat that it is there. That's not the problem. The problem is, to make that work, what they've had to do is shrink the steering wheel, at least the top of the steering wheel. So now you get a really small steering wheel, but it still doesn't really work, because if you look at it from my point of view, unless I move the steering wheel all over the place, which I have done in an effort to try and stop it, I can't actually see my dials, which means I can't see how fast I'm going, which is something most people want to see when they drive. I would say that is the biggest issue I have. Everything else does feel a lot better and much improved, including, of course, the materials. Now, there is a couple of squidgy stuff here. There's Alcantara on the side, there's leather, and it's just a really nice place to be. It's a leather steering wheel. Everything feels rather premium. There's no scratchy plastics anywhere. The seats themselves, the front seats are electric, heated, and massaging, which is really nice for a car at this price point. And they're in this tri-material Alcantara, leatherette, and contrast stitching design. Now, there's kind of sport seats, which for me are a little uncomfortable, but that might just be a me problem. So you'll just have to test the car and figure that out for yourself. Now, elsewhere, I've got, the usual amenities. I've got my sunroof, which is pretty nice. I've got wireless charging for my smartphone, and I can use wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I have Type-C charging, which rather amusingly does look like they've kind of just pasted a Type-C port over a Type-A outlet, which is quite funny. I've got my cup holders, I've got a phone holder here, some storage space inside the armrest, and up here, the infotainment system. So this car also has the new iToggle system, which actually works pretty well. So what you have is this kind of shortcut tray of 5 different functions, like a dock on your iPhone. And then what you can do is, let's say you want several different shortcuts. So now it's auto start stop, Apple CarPlay, driver assistance features. So let's say I want to change that. So I can just come to the main screen. Let's say I want to change to something like this. I can just press and hold on one of this, and it'll show me what I can change it to. So this is steering wheel heating. And there you go. Now I have the heated steering wheel on my shortcut. So if I want to turn it on or off, I can just press that. And of course, I can change it to anything else I want. So let's say I want to come to, let's say I want navigation. So I can click navigation, or I can click the phone, or OK Peugeot, or any of the other seat options. Let's say I want navigation. There you go. Navigation automatically turns into a shortcut over here. Now, rather annoyingly, some of the aircon controls and stuff like that are still locked behind the screen. But thankfully, they've put a hard button here, so I can just press that, and it goes shortcut straight to the aircon controls, and then I can just turn it on and off as I wish. All that's left to do is see how she drives. So the beating heart, the power unit, the furnace behind this fearsome, handsome, lion-themed fastback. What engine is it? Well, it's a 1.2 litre turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, making a whopping 130 horsepower and 230 newton meters of torque. It's pretty small, but what it lacks in power, it more than makes up for in efficiency. Now, Peugeot claims about 17.2 km per litre of fuel economy, and in my test driving, which has been, I would say, less than responsible, I've managed to average 15 to 16 kilometers per litre pretty easily. So that means if I was to drive a bit more sensibly, I think I could easily get and even exceed Peugeot's claimed 17 km per litre figure. Now, while getting up to speed can be a bit of a struggle, and it does sound a bit like a taxi while it's doing it, once you're at speed, and even at triple-digit speeds, the 408 is a decently capable and very comfortable cruiser. Even when you're above the speed limit, which I have not been, it's comfortable, it's quiet, and wind noise or road noise are kept to a minimum. And the engine is much happier maintaining speed than it is building it. And when the roads get a little twistier and you want to get some spirited driving done, the 408 actually holds its own in that department as well. Now, the steering is not very communicative, but it is nicely weighted, and there's just enough body roll where there's a bit of weight transfer, but it doesn't feel too wallowy. Damping is also well controlled, and the 408 doesn't feel like it's bouncing over all the little bumps in the road, which can make it pretty uncomfortable. But saying that, it's still soft enough to the point where it's comfortable when you're just driving around town. Now, I do have some complaints. the 408, with its fanciful design, does have a couple of drawbacks in the function department. So the front dashboard, while it looks very nice, is pretty hard to see out of over the passenger corner. And the right side visibility, especially in the blind spot, is also pretty bad with how big the B pillars are. But those are small complaints, and they don't really detract from the fact that I'm driving a very stylish looking car, and I do feel a little while doing it. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I've never made it a secret that I've never really liked French cars. I've always found them to be the wrong side of quirky, and I've always found that the list of cons outweighed the pros. But after spending some time with the 408 in particular, I feel that, at least for me, that list of cons has definitely shrunk. It's well equipped, it drives well, it saves you a bunch of petrol, and I mean, just look at it. As always, thank you very much for watching this episode of mReview. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Au revoir!
Motorist